rink every weekend. Yeah, that's what we did for fun. Roller disco. Yep. All right, so here we are, and everybody excited? Tomorrow being the last day. Whoop whoop. Should be excited. Everybody should be proud of how far you've come and where you're headed. You know where you're headed because you've been doing those career plans, right? So we've got a little bit of ground to cover, so we are going to get going here. And so making sure the recording is going, and it is, so we are ready to begin. So we're going to jump right into this here. Come up here. Sure we see it the way you see it. Don't you wish that everybody had a button that you just pushed on their forehead and they would see things the way you see things? That would be a great way to get through life. Just bonk, now you see things the way I see it. Tomorrow, last day of class, 10 p.m. Anything you want included in your final grade has to be completed and submitted at 10 p.m. 10 p.m. I will no longer accept emails, text, anything starting at 10 p.m. Everybody understand that? At 10 p.m. I stop receiving emails and texts. Anybody sending things, I've got an assignment, it wouldn't let me file, I couldn't get on, the internet was down. There was a series of TV shows I had to watch first, etc. You know, my pizza didn't come on time, so that made me late. No excuses, no exceptions. 10 o'clock, that's it. The class locks. I cannot override a class lock. I cannot give you an extension beyond 10 p.m. because everybody else wouldn't have that same time effect. One of the projects this week is talking about treating people differently in the work environment. Everybody has pretty much gone through that. Everybody remember that, the scenarios. They feel like an employee is being treated differently. Yeah, you've had to deal with that. Everybody in here is treated equally. 10 o'clock, cut off. Okay, that's it. Not submitted, it's not included. If you're in the middle of taking the final exam and that 10 o'clock hits and you are logged out, anything you have not completed will of course be listed as no answer. And of course that would be scored as 0 points. On that final exam, if there is something where it's fill in the blank, don't just leave that unanswered. Give it an attempt, okay? You might get partial credit. So 10 p.m. is the cutoff. We are here in week 4. Everything should be completed all the way down here to Wednesday. You go in, check those results on that mock interview, see what you've done. Everybody at this point should have that mock interview completed if you had one. I was waiting for the results on one person, so I should have those if they went to that mock interview yesterday. So that was when it was scheduled. Otherwise, that is it. No more mock interviews should be coming through. Your report, you're back on this informational interview where you interviewed somebody in management. Everybody should have this completed, and we'll be reporting back the results. Again, don't try to put it through AI to come up with something better or something you may not have done. You need to have completed this interview. You could do it in person, by phone. You could text them back and forth. You need the results. Make sure you include the person's name, where they're working at, their position, and the answers to the questions. Okay. Something that I'm seeing, especially on the questions for the participation, people are not actually listening to what's being asked. Okay, you saw it reflected in the scores yesterday. You don't just automatically get 100 points for just sending something through. You need to actively listen. You need to pay attention. You need to follow specs. All right. Okay. you're not getting 100 points automatically because you put something that you think kind of sounded like. Pay attention to the specs. Not only am I speaking them, they're being displayed on the screen. Following directions, either written or oral, is going to be a part of your career. Okay? You're going to be expected to follow and read specifications or listen to them and be able to do them. Half hearing, half reading is not going to be acceptable. Reading part of it or listening to part of it and then going with what you assume is what is being expected is not acceptable. So please pay attention to the specs and the instructions, even all the way up to the end in these final uh, assignments, because you are being graded on the ability to follow those. Everybody understand that? Yesterday was big for people assuming the instructions and not following them. Most of those were confined to a group. So please pay attention to what's actually being asked. All right. So that's imperative. So I want to bring that up because uh, people did lose points. You still got the attendance, but you did lose points. Excuse me. So I want to make sure that that's a skill that we work on. It's making sure that we are going all the way through what is actually being asked. That way, work doesn't have to be redone on the job, and that costs your employer. So that is something that reading comprehension or that oral comprehension comes into play. So that's something that everybody can work on. It's not just in a classroom, it is on the job as well. All right, so that's for today. Tomorrow, that career plan, that final project, don't forget it needs to be in the format. That is part of the specs of that. So you will lose quite a few points if you do not follow that format to provide that information. Some people have turned that in and they've done an incredible job with it. So kudos on that. This is where you're headed once you graduate. Think about that. These are the things that you want to accomplish. These are the things that you came in to Southern Tech and the reasons why you wanted to come here. So when you look at that and you're going, "Oh, I don't want to do that. This is what you chose you want to do. So you came in with a vision of why you wanted to go and make a difference. You had a thought of where you'd rather be versus where you are or were when you walk through those doors. So when you think about the reasons why you came, your vision had a future. Now you're taking that as your starting point and you're projecting that forward. You should have a plan. You should have dreams. You should have wants, and you should have a reason to move forward. Now, people who say, I never plan. Okay, that's a plan. You need to have a reason or a ways, a means to not have to have plans. Money's not going to fall out of nowhere. You're going to have a place to stay. If you want to travel continuously, how are you going to do that? Well, I'm going to make money on the road. Okay, what are you going to do? Well, I'm going to do odd jobs. Okay, how are you going to get those odd jobs? There's always a plan to get to where you need to be, even if you don't need to be somewhere. So think those through as you do that final plan. If you did steps 1 and 2 correctly, that final plan project will flow easily. And then the final exam, I'm going to go over that tomorrow and we'll see how that goes. All right. And so, like I said, typically that I would do that last class as a video so that everybody could jump straight into that final exam. But I feel that there's a reason from what I'm seeing in some of these last scores to do that as a live session. Starting today, I'm going to be going through the assignments and dropping zeros in for all the open assignments that are out there. Some people have quite a few. Again, that deadline's looming, and you will need to have those finished by 10 p.m. So you're going to have some work to do today and tomorrow to wrap those up. Uh, Sometimes the thought and the information gets out at the campuses, wait until the last minute, and then if everybody pushes through, they can't read all the assignments and you can kind of get away with things. That's not the case. We do have to go through all of those. We do have to read them, and they will be critiqued the same as somebody who took a lot of time and got them in earlier. So the last minute rush does hurt you. So please take the time, get those in, do them of quality. Remember your personal brand, how that affects that. Always do 100%. Keep your quality level high at all times. Never settle for it's good enough. Settle for your quality level at all times. All right? So that's always, always important to do. So we're going to get going here. Set this up here. Start off with our little smiley face. We're going to be talking about protecting your identity, things and ways people don't realize. We're going to talk about identity theft, learn how to recognize it, and report employment scams. Employment scams are pretty common, things we need to work about. Identify potential risks that can be encountered when using the internet, define malware, and list examples, and summarize how to create and maintain security plan. How many people have heard of identity theft? Everybody's heard of identity theft? Yeah. We've heard about security breaches, things and that. People don't realize how easy things can go really bad if your identity is stolen. Um, Doing forensics in computer crimes, white collar crimes, things like that. Being a systems analyst, sometimes I'm called in to do things like that, help people do research when data is breached. And let me give you a quick scenario. A lot of information is out there. I asked you to do a Google on yourself. Everybody's seen that, right? You saw what information was out there, wasn't out there. Things that we see when in pictures, pictures can then be scanned, facial recognition. We can see people in those pictures and we can track those back to you and we can go to those people's Facebook pages, etc., and see where you're tagged in those. And we can start finding out information. People answer security questions. How many people have seen those? What's your mother's maiden name? Things like that. And we put that information in. No, don't do that. Okay. If it asks for your mother's maiden name, put in your favorite movie. Okay. Those questions don't know the answers. But what you're doing is you're providing information that leaks and links into information that's vital to you. Okay. Why would somebody want to know your mother's maiden name? Because now I know you, I know your mother's maiden name. I can go back and I can have a birth certificate sent to me about you. Now I can start applying for credit in your name. See how very quickly I'm already starting to ruin your credit life. All because you answered a question. What was your mother's maiden name? Be leery of polls and things like that on social media where you're answering what's your favorite movie, what's your favorite color, what's this. How many people have recognized that those are the same questions they ask you when you're securing your passwords so that you can get them restored? You're giving out all the answers to all your secure passwords. Okay. Now, how many people have heard of the dark web? Everybody hear of the dark web? It's out there, it's real. All these things are accessible. Anybody ever use secure web browsing, incognito mode, this and that, so you can't be tracked. Anybody use it? Hate to tell you this, you're just as trackable. Ta-da! We can see everything you do. It makes it a little bit more difficult, but we can find you. VPNs, you can be found. There's VPN trackers all over the place. It makes it more difficult, but it can still be done. No place is 100% secure. So please recognize that information can be there. Now, how many people have ever bought a car? Anybody ever buy a car? Yeah. Okay. Happy moments. Yay. Okay, so let me tell you, typical scenario. This happens in South Florida all the time. You've got that car, you're paying for it, you're getting within the last two payments of the car. You're very excited. And what I've been doing is I've been monitoring this. Very easy to do because I got your information. I was able to quickly track into those loans that you have. And I've been watching you make that car payment. You get down to those last two car payments, and I'm going to be a nice person. I'm going to pay off your car loan. Isn't that nice of me? How many people would like me to pay off your car loan? Because I have a motive. Because I'm going to pay off that car loan and I'm going to have that title switched over to me. Because you don't know your car loan's been paid off. I'm changing every piece of information because I've got all of the information to all your passwords. So I can change that password. I go in and I've changed now the title over to me. The car's paid off. You don't know it. And now what am I going to do? I am going to go and I'm going to list your car for sale. All right. So now I've got a paid off car and I'm listing your car for sale. Okay. So now you're
I think you're muted.
okay. Sorry about that. Every now and then somebody will go up and click on that mute up there. I guess I get tired of hearing me. Okay, so at what point? So I paid your car off and I've got the title change. Now that I've got the title in my hand, I'm going to list your car for sale. The only problem is I don't have the car. So what I do is I wait for you to park it and now I can get your car towed. Reason why I can get your car towed is I'm the legal owner because I have the title. So I have your car towed. I get it rekeyed very quickly. I list it up on Marketplace. I use a burner phone for them to call me. I sell your car and I disappear. The person owns the car now. They've got the title. They get it registered. You report the car stolen. The only problem is it's not stolen. They run it, it's registered. You're not the registered owner. Now you've got a problem. You're trying to get back a car that belongs to somebody else. They explain it was listed on Marketplace. Now you're in trouble for trying to run a scam. Happens all the time. Identity theft is very real and it's horrible to get out of. These types of scams happen over and over, and a lot of times they happen because people have been out there trying to get a job. So we need to figure some things out how to protect yourself. So we need to protect that privacy. And identity theft is an illegal act and involves stealing someone's personal information and using that information. to commit theft or fraud. No matter how small or simple it is an illegal act. So we need to be diligent and we need to have caution. Never use your social security number on any documents. Don't be giving this out without reason. Places should not be asking for that social security number when you're applying for jobs. Okay, if you think something is wrong, contact the FTC. That is another reason why they are there. And if your identity is stolen, you need to contact them. That's the other reason why they are there. Okay, because when you're applying online, you're going to be going to strange websites. So you need to be aware of what to look for. Okay, and now yesterday I wanted you to go to places you wanted to work at because I wanted you to look at their actual websites. I didn't want to know why you wanted to work there as far as in, oh, I like, their facilities. It looks nice. I know people who work there. No, I want you to find out very specific reason or things about them. How many locations they have, how many employees they have, things like that. Things you would find specifically on their websites because you need to be able to go there and search through things that you need to be looking for so that you can kind of help yourself out. Okay. So each time you use those search engines and you start looking for them, you expose yourself and your computer. And part of that is your IP address. That's that Internet Protocol address. That's what IP address stands for. And every one of your systems has a number on it. Okay. And that tells them approximately where you're physically located. So it gives away your physical address as well as your computer's address. So we know approximately where you're physically located in the country. Now, when you're looking at that web address, you're going to see things that begin with HTTP or HTTPS. And HTTPS, that means that it has passed certain security protocols and it's considered a more secure website. Fake addresses will only have an HTTP. Now, that doesn't mean some legitimate sites don't have just HTTP, but it should be a warning sign that this might not be a secure site. It's not 100% foolproof, but it is something to be aware of. And be careful when you're connecting out there with Wi-Fi because there's a big thing going around in Tampa areas and Sanford and in the Orlando area where they will use mobile hotspots inside vans. You have a building here, they'll park a van here. The van will have a Wi-Fi location with the most common misspellings of the Wi-Fi of the building inside here. And the reason being, you misspell it and you connect over here into their van instead of the building. And you don't know that. And you are talking through the internet and they're capturing all their data. Okay, so everybody see how easily that mistake happens? You mistype the Wi-Fi, you think you're connected to the business, everything looks the same, only you're sending everything through them. They are capturing all your data. This happens all the time where there's multiple businesses that have free Wi-Fi. That van is set up to capture the most common Wi-Fi page misspellings so that it captures everybody in the close proximity. This is a big thing going on right now because that's a van can hold several servers and run all day long and capture all that information. So please be careful with those Wi-Fi hotspots. Make sure you are getting it correct and be careful of what data you are transferring back and forth. Make sure you get the name and confirm that legitimacy before entering any payment information. If you're paying bills, things like that, think twice about where you're connecting and how you're connecting. And make sure there's a reason why you're sending payments. You should not be paying anybody to get a job. Places that are saying, oh, you have to take this test to be able to apply for this job. That's another warning sign. You should not be paying to apply for a job. You'll see this for federal applications. To be able to take the test, you need to pay for this. Or state applications, you need to pay to take this test. No, those state applications, those federal applications, they are free. Do not pay for those. All right. Cookies. We all love cookies, right? But these cookies, these are actually pieces of data on your computer, and it keeps track of what websites you visited, what pages you've looked at, and pieces of information on menus, etc. Okay. And people want to take those. We call them cookie monsters, actually. That's the terminology we use. And you have to be careful. Now, how many people have seen the thing that says, do you want to clear those cookies? You've seen those when you're logging in and out. There's a reason for it, because people want to steal your cookies for a reason, because that information tells them where you've been, what you've done, what you've seen, what you haven't seen, and data is expensive. They want that data. With that data, they can find out more information about you, and they can sell that information. That cookie hijacking is very, very expensive, and it is sellable. Okay, companies want to know how to reach you, and getting those cookies is one of the easiest way. It is data that will tell them exactly where you go, what you do. When you go up and you skim or scan your card at the gas pump, it is now almost 80 or over 80% accurate that when you scan that card, within seconds, they have checked all the businesses within a certain radius around you. And with your past purchasing history, over 80%, they can tell the next business you are going to go to, and most likely what you're going to purchase in that business. Real time, that business has the opportunity to raise and lower those prices based on your payment history. That's how real time purchasing is moving, so that they'll be able to predict what you're going to purchase and accommodate those prices based on that. Kind of like how theme parks are doing surge-based pricing on the tickets. The more busy they're going to be, the prices are going to go up. Stores are wanting to increase prices based on the demand, based on the people in the area, and how many they're going to be able to sell during that time. And that's not future-based. That is happening now. How many people have seen on the news that if you purchase something through your phone, it's going to cost you more than if you purchase that same item at the same time through a tablet? Has anybody seen this? And if you purchase that same item at the same time, it's cheaper on a computer, because people on a phone are not patient. They want it now, so they will pay more. People on a tablet are a little more patient. They won't pay quite as much. And people on a computer are more likely to look around. They will pay less. So people who order on a phone pay the most. This is reality, and it comes from these pieces left behind called your cookies. Now, we've all seen attacks on systems, and we hear the terms, but we may not know exactly what they are. So phishing is something that's used when people are luring you in to apply for things just to get information out of you. They're not real job offers, so be careful. These are fraudulent emails and copies of valid websites to trick you into giving private information. So when you receive something that says, click on here to go to this link, Actually go and look at that link, and chances are you're going to see different words in there that are not the legitimate company's website. Your best bet is to actually go and type in the company's website name and go from there. Phishing is going to look very close to the original, but there is going to be errors in that link to get you to go to this fake site instead of the real site. You'll see things coming in from like the state saying you owe tolls or places that you've purchased stuff. There's a company that will send stuff every time you order from Best Buy saying you need to contact them about your order. You go put in all your order information. What they're doing is they're copying it down. They're going to go pick up your product instead of you. So you need to be careful of phishing. It's become very, very rampant lately. Now, malware. This is software that gets into your system, and it's only intended to damage and destroy your data. Okay, the difference between it and a virus, malware is going to stay on your system and not spread. Virus is going to not only impact you, but everything that comes into your system, and then you pass on to another. Okay. Now, the reason why we're going through this is because you might be using a system at work and then bringing something or connecting or emailing something back to your home system. And this is how some of this stuff will get there, or you email or send something from your home system to work and now you've damaged them. All right. Now, adware, nothing wrong with it. It's free to use, but you have to look at the ads. You'll see this a lot on apps and things on your phone as well. Now, spyware, you may not even know it's there, but what it's doing is it's keeping track of everything you're doing. It's been put on there and it just monitors and sends information back. Now, some companies will put spyware on their stuff just to see what the employees are doing. Has anybody worked on a company where they found out that you were doing stuff you shouldn't be doing? It's a type of spyware. Checking to make sure you're not going on websites you shouldn't be doing, etc. Now, ransomware is a little bit different. Businesses have been impacted by this, where they have actually been shut down. State programs have been hit by ransomware. It actually takes over your system, it locks it up, and then if you don't pay the company or the people who've done this, they won't let you back in. Okay, this has happened to airlines, large systems, things like that, and it's a threat to do this. Now, sometimes a virus will act like it's ransomware. You'll get a message saying you need to call this number, blah, blah, blah. A virus protection program will clear that out. So be careful of those fake messages as well. So you need to create a security plan for you so that you don't take things back and forth with you to work and possibly damage their system and vice versa. So consider antivirus software. And how many people have Android phones out there? Anybody with Android phones? Everybody's got iPhones. Nobody has Androids. Okay. If you have an Android phone, make sure you have antivirus mobile security on that phone. Apps for Androids in the App Store there, you have many, many developers, and it doesn't have the same security as Apple. This is not promoting Apple over Android. Apple has tighter control so you don't get the viruses that you do with Android. Whenever you have a more open platform, you're more likely to have issues. So please make sure you run mobile security on those Android, or you stand a good chance of having data hacked on them. So please make sure you have that. Make your password secure. Those secure passwords are a pain, but it'll keep that data safe, and especially when you're going through those job applications. The multi-factor authentication, this is where they give you the code sent back. That is one of the best ways to protect yourself. And the security settings. Don't share information outside of your social groups, etc. Make sure those are set up and back things up. You won't regret it, but if you don't back things up, you will. This security checklist is in your book. I don't need to read through it. Okay. And those password strength. Remember, go for the strong ones here. We know what they should be. We all have done this for many, many times. Uppercase, lowercase, random letters, numbers, symbols, jump up and down, spin, pat your head and stomach at the same time. But keep yourself protected when you're going to these sites. Okay. Another thing that happens is if you go and you are looking at these sites and you fill all this information out, you don't hear from them. But meanwhile, what they're doing is they're selling your information. So try to keep yourself safe when you're going through the job process. Okay, everybody got that? Keep yourself safe when you're going through there. Don't expose your personal data. All right, so today, I want to know, have you been hacked or had your identity stolen? If so, how did you fix it? Okay. Or what are you doing to keep your identity safe? And list 3 things that you're doing to keep it safe. Okay. So what are you doing to make sure that you are keeping that identity safe? Need 3 things there. Okay. So that's what I want to know is what you're doing in those situations. And tomorrow we're going to be going over the final exam. Like I said, today I'll be dropping zeros in. There's some people that need to be catching up on some things. Don't push it all the way off until the end and find out that you're running out of time. I cannot extend things. The class will close and lock at 10 p.m. At that time, we compile everything because this class will be cleared out and being prepared for the next group of students. Remember, next week there will be a break and then everybody will be coming back. Let's see, so we will be gone all next week and then we come back the following week. So that's what we will be doing as far as that's concerned. So you have a week break there. So hopefully everybody will have some good plans, get to enjoy their time off, and some of you will be finished with everything. That will be even better. All right, so we will see you tomorrow. Morgan, you got a question? Okay, I thought your mic came on mute. We'll see you tomorrow, 10 a.m.